going on today, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been probably about a month since I made a video. Kind of had a lot going on, but that's okay because we got plenty of stuff to do still, and everything that we really do need to do I already have. It's just been a matter of kind of time at this point. But what we're going to be doing in this video is getting the front axle under the frame. So as we left off last time, was these coil buckets here. We are going to go ahead and get those bolted down. I just kind of have 2 bolts in each one to hold them to the frame. With that being said, let's go ahead and get these things bolted down, and we'll go from there. Guys, so we just got our coil buckets and spacers bolted on and everything. That went pretty good, especially since, you know, when we did mock everything up on the truck, we kind of pieced it together first just to make sure everything was lined up real good. So that made this part a whole lot easier. So the next thing is going to be going ahead and getting the front axle just setting under it, and then we'll have to move it around to get the coil springs to line up with the coil spacers and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and get to doing that. All right, guys, so as you just saw, first of all, that just shows that, like, when I'm doing this kind of stuff, definitely doesn't always go perfect, and even most of the time I end up cutting like the screw ups and the stuff that takes it a little bit more time out, just because I don't really want to bore you guys. Axle falling off of the jack stands, one of those things where, you know, shit happens and it doesn't go smooth, but luckily it fell on blinkage, so it didn't scratch up any of the paint or anything like that. So we got it under the frame now. Now we're going to go ahead and start getting it lined up, and then jacked up and still sitting on jack stands, because it's sitting on coil springs now, and it won't be sitting on the ground yet till I get bearings. Well, I already have bearings, axle seals and ball joints and stuff, where it can actually kind of sit, you know, we can put tires on it, it'll sit on the ground, and it won't have to sit on jack stands anymore. So I have just discovered that I need more bolts from FabTech. I didn't get everything that I needed, just because I want to go on new hardware with everything that I'm doing. So what we're going to have to do is order upper control arm bolts upper track bar bolts for the front axle and at the bracket here. This guy right here, just because it looks like shit. So we're gonna get rid of that, get a new one of that. For the drop bracket, there's a bolt that goes here and then one on the other side. I don't know why they do 2 bolts, but they do. We're gonna go ahead and we'll get that ordered as well. And then also the drop bracket bolt, the drop bracket that goes on this lower bolt hole here. We need that bolt as well. So we'll have to go ahead and get those ordered from FabTech. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and do as much as I can with the front axle. Maybe even put the upper track bars on just to see kind of how it looks. we'll go ahead and get these front coil springs seated, or just, you know, sitting in between the axle and the frame, and then we'll go from there. Guys, so we got the axle moved underneath of the frame, and kind of oddball lined up. I mean, it's a little bit off, but it'll work. I forgot how tall this thing's gonna be. I mean, this is insane because the axle is sitting enough to where, like, this jack stand is like lowered all the way, and you know, you can't go any lower than that. Plus, you know, by the time you go to put wheels and tires on it, I don't know if stocks will sit that high or not. They may or may not, maybe a little bit lower. But with me going to be running 28s and 40s, it's going to sit even higher than that. So it's going to raise everything up even higher what it's already at. And I mean, you can see it's at my shoulder. And the coil spring's not even going to fit in there. As you can see, even just eyeballing it sitting here, it's got to go up a whole lot more. So we're going to go ahead and raise this up, so we can get the coil springs sitting in there. Guys, so I had ended up running out of threads on these frame jacks. If you guys know how these work, there's this pipe here which gives it like the overall height up and down. You can go, you know, more than what the threads can give you. I ended up running out of threads, so I had to take some 2x4 or 6x6s, put them on part of the axle, and then use that that jack that I had used previously when I was spreading the frame to put the cross members back in. I had to use that to lift up the frame off of the frame jacks, take the threads all the way back down, adjust the pipe, and then redo it. So we're back in business. Let's go ahead and get this thing high enough to put some coil springs under it. Alright guys, it is now a new day. As you guys probably noticed, this was kind of like a couple day video because the special front axle bolts that we needed, not axle bolts, the track bar bolts, these top ones, we had to get special from Ford. So that took 2 days to get, so obviously you couldn't do anything in that time period. But we do finally have the whole front end mocked up, and it looks freaking awesome. The color combo is just sick. Like, everything's, as the more and more the stuff comes together, it looks sicker and sicker. Like, I can't wait to see this thing out in the sun, outside, going to shows for you guys to see. Like, it just looks awesome. This paint is killer. So, for our next video here, I'm gonna have to do a little bit of digging because with this truck being lifted as high as it's going to be, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to need or want to run a high steer kit, because it's so high. And yes, I can get a drop pitman arm, which I probably still will do. That's still going to be a super steep angle for the bar that goes from the pitman arm down to the knuckle. It's just going to make it really hard on the gearbox, the truck, and me to be able to steer the truck. So for those of you that don't know what that is pretty much they take your factory knuckle, or they may even make an aftermarket kind of knuckle. And as far as I know, from what I've seen, they'll take your factory knuckle, some machine shop that I need to find, and they'll mill like a flat spot down on your knuckle, and then they'll pretty much bolt an extended piece up so it raises where the drag link would connect. So if any of you guys know kind of where to point me in the direction on that, I've already got a hold of Dalton Lovejoy. He kind of pointed me in one direction, but I don't really want to buy a different knuckle if I don't need to, just because I've seen factory knuckles be used. You just got to mill a part out of it and then bolt another part to it. Like, it's really not a complicated thing. And, you know, it's not something, you know, I'm not cutting any corners on this build at all. But I don't want to do it if it's not completely necessary. You know what I mean? Like, the knuckle's still fine, and I already have it all painted and everything, so I don't really want to waste that either. So I got to figure out what to do with that. So once I get that going, I'm also going to get bearings, races, seals, and ball joints coming for this as well. And then we'll go ahead and get this front end entirely wrapped up. At that point, we'll also put the rear end back together, and we can go ahead and get this thing sitting on the ground on all four wheels and tires. I know some of you know I currently don't have any wheels and tires that I want to use on the truck. I actually plan on having custom one-off wheels made from a guy that I know around here. He's going to do whatever design I want, and he's going to put like whatever I want on the lip of them, so I'm super stoked for that. But that's kind of far on down the road. I think after we get, you know, this thing sitting down on the ground on all fours, I want to figure out what I want to do for the engine, as far as engine mount brackets, because I am looking to get moved out of this shop here relatively fast. So I'm trying to do everything that I can to get this thing, you know, pretty much in a rolling assembly. So I think that covers everything from this video and what the future plans are for the next video, guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you have not already, go ahead and get down there and hit that subscribe button. It's starting to get fun. See some cool stuff. Obviously, everything's kind of slowly-ish coming together. I'm getting super excited. I know a lot of you guys are getting super excited, asking me what's going on with everything. So we are definitely getting there. So once again, if you haven't already, go ahead and leave a like on this video. Leave a comment if you have if you know of, you know, any of the milling stuff that I'm talking about with this knuckle. Get a hold of me. Let me know. My socials are always in the end of the video. Let me know, even leave a comment down below so I can see that. And I will catch you guys in the next video. See ya.